309 days left till the new halving, which is less than a year. Fear and greed index trading at 65, which is greed, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at 30k. In the last episode that we were making, it was like I'm pretty sure a month ago or even more. We had a correction. Bitcoin at that time was trading somewhere at the range of, I'm pretty sure 26k, 27k, somewhere there. And I told you that it's a pretty healthy correction, that everything's fine. And as you can imagine, it was a pretty healthy correction and everything's fine. We had a reversal and currently trading at 30k, which is pretty good, right? In the last episode, I told you that June, right now we're in June, in June, the June is not particularly, in this particular moment, June is not the case here, that the minimal that you should even aiming for, the minimal, right, is July, but aiming for August as like a median, something average of what you can expect, right? But minimal is July, because for June, for that to happen, you can see in June the open was 27k, and the current price that we are trading is 30k. So technically it's like 10% upside, and considering how big of a range we still have for a red face of MACD, monthly MACD, right? To flip to the green one, you need to have at least, I think, at least 30% pump on one candle for June. Again, we're talking about this current moment for June to actually flip to the green face, specifically in June, in the current month. But again, as you can imagine, there's just the chances of that is extremely low. So there's just enormous pump. So in this case, what exactly are we aiming for is obviously July. Only if you're gonna continue. But actually, you can see that the current phase, the current June candle, MACD candle, right? MACD candle of June is literally the same as we had in January last year. I'm talking about the size of this candle. So, and before that we obviously had a green phase, but in this moment in actually last year, we had a flip from a green phase to the red phase, and the first candle was literally the same size as we are currently having. So the more signs that we're actually gonna have this flip to the green phase, and we're coming for it as closer and closer, right? So I think July would be the case if we're gonna continue. At least, I don't know, 2-3% each week. If you're gonna be having 2-3% each week, I think the flip may happen. So what this means? Most people are obviously hoping for higher highs, at least minimum, right? So in this case, the current high for us would be, I'm pretty sure, is 31k. So I don't know, maybe 32k, 33k. But some people are aiming for 42k based on, I'm pretty sure, the previous cycle, which is 2019. And most people, that's what they aiming for, because if you're gonna look at which is not the worst, by the way, case, if you're gonna look at the previous cycle, which is which is 2016 technically, right? Because January, the first month of 2016, was the flip, and you can see it was not actually the higher high. Even the previous candle, December of 2015, before the flip, it was not even a higher high. So obviously the people that are aiming for a short term, they mostly looking at 2019 cycle, because in that specific moment we had technically we hit an all-time high by the shadow of the all-time high of the body shadows not included of 2017. At that moment it was like somewhere at 14k, right? So we kind of hit that with a shadow, and then obviously we had immediate sell off. So if you had the sell orders there, you got filled, you got lucky, because after that it was pretty long correction. It took like almost a year, but still you had whole year to accumulate in pretty good price. Even during the COVID in March of 2020 we had pretty big drop and immediate obviously reversal. So that's what I think people who are aiming for a short term are hoping for, that we're gonna be having a higher high, which obviously I do hope so, for a higher high. But again, if we're gonna have the same outcome as we had 2016, which is slow pump, slow like growth of the price of the Bitcoin till the halving, and then obviously halving will happen, and then we're gonna have another wave of retail. The media's gonna start pumping, like yelling, oh, halving has happened. What this means, it means the new cycle, it means the time for a new pump, exactly as it was happening in previous cases, right? So that's also can be the case. So what this means, what should you do if July would be the flip, the first green candle of MACD, the flip point? I think you should take some small profits. Yeah, coming from a channel that is called Bitcoin HODLER sounds pretty weird, right? But let's be real. Again, having some small nobody, as they say, nobody got poor from taking profits, which is a pretty true statement, by the way. How can you get poor from taking profits, guys? And it's all these numbers digital. You're making profits, you're making money, but digitally. You gotta enjoy, at least have some enjoyment of this digital money, right? So take some small profits, enjoy it. Again, if you're gonna have actually the higher high in this case in July, right? So if you're gonna be having like 32k and above it, I think taking some small profits and having some small fun with it, with physical things, right? Because Bitcoin is like a digital thing, so cannot hurt again. So that's my thing. That's what I think. But obviously not selling everything, because if you're gonna have the same case it was happening 2016, it's even 2017. Yeah, 2017 was the higher high, the highest point. Then we had a sell-off. So obviously do not go fully in cash, because you're just gonna be staring at the price that is constantly gonna be going up, and you're just gonna be depressed that you sold everything, or I don't know, maybe even a half. I'm not even calling to sell a half, some small profits, right? Because again, you can see we had the case. There was the case when we had like enormous pump here and immediate sell off, pretty long one. So for that case, risk management, if that's the word, currently on a Wall Street, using word risk management is not the best thing. Current trending word is actually anti-fragile, so to make some of your assets anti-fragile, right, from any possible risk, taking some small profits is actually good idea, I think, and obviously enjoying. So that's my thing on the current state of Bitcoin. Now let's move on to the inflation data, which is obviously is going down, and it's going down pretty fast. Because if you're gonna look at the the previous, which was April, right? It was 4.9, and the current in May, which is technically a year over year, we're having 4. So technically 0.9%, almost 1% drop we had from year over year, month over month, technically. So year over year compared, you know how the CPI works. So yeah, and the current forecast is actually 3.6. And what's the Fed aiming for is obviously 2%. But you know, previously I'm pretty sure when we were at somewhere at 8%, somewhere in this range, I heard that Jerome Powell is actually saying 3% sounds not that bad. You know, it seemed it felt like he was trying to even normalize like 3%, because like, you know, 2% is like average good inflation percent for states. At least that's what Fed thinks. But when he was talking about 3%, it was pretty funny. But again, you can see forecast. We're already at 4%, and it's only, I forgot what's the month, June, right? We had 6 more months left to hit the 2%, which again, all you need to do is just minus 2% in 6 months, right? Which I think we may actually do that. And then we're gonna start finally cutting rates. Fed maybe, I hope, which definitely should be the case. Fed gonna start cutting rates. That would be nice. Then we're gonna have bigger pump in stocks, but stocks are already pumping. But you know, it should, the whole liquidity of investments will, from retail and from bigger players, will go back to the stocks and to the crypto, all of the financial tickers, whatever. So you know, it would be good weather for us. So yeah, obviously for the Bitcoin, hoping for a quicker flip point to the green phase in July, right? And to the moon.